Your life doesn't change in a day. It changes in the tiny, invisible decisions you make every single day. And if you master these 5 pillars, your productivity, your progress, and your peace will never be the same again. Before we dive into these 5 pillars that shape a productive life, I want to tell you something most people never realize. Productivity isn't about working harder. It's about working on the right things in the right way. You're here because you want progress, not promises, discipline, not excuses, clarity, not chaos. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, you'll discover the subtle shifts that separate the overwhelmed from the unstoppable. These 5 pillars I'm going to share with you are simple, practical, and life-shifting. But more importantly, each one builds on the next. Miss one, and the whole structure collapses. That's why you must watch this speech completely, so you don't walk away with only half of the transformation. You cannot build a productive life on a foundation of confusion. Clarity is the first discipline of a powerful mind. When a person begins the journey toward success, toward productivity, toward building a life that is meaningful and structured, the first obstacle they encounter is not a lack of skill, money, opportunity, or education. It is confusion. Confusion about what they want, confusion about what matters, confusion about what direction to walk in, and confusion is costly. Confusion steals time, energy, enthusiasm, and potential. Clarity, on the other hand, is the force that organizes your thinking, sharpens your decision-making, and multiplies your productivity. It is the cornerstone of every strong life, every purposeful day, and every meaningful achievement. Without clarity, even the hardest work ends up scattered. With clarity, even the smallest step becomes powerful. When you gain clarity, life stops feeling like a battle against chaos. You no longer wake up wondering what to do next. You wake up knowing exactly what needs your attention. And that shift, one simple shift, can change everything, because clarity gives direction, and direction gives momentum. Think of a river. Water scattered on the ground is useless, but water flowing in one direction cuts through mountains. Your mind works the same way. When your thoughts are focused, when your purpose is defined, when your priorities are set, your actions become unstoppable. That is the power of clarity. Most people move through life reacting to whatever shows up. They respond to messages, respond to problems, respond to people's demands, respond to circumstances. They spend their days being pushed around by events. And when evening comes, they wonder why they feel exhausted yet unfulfilled. It's because reaction is not purpose. It's movement without intention. Productivity without direction is like a car with a full tank of fuel but no destination. It can move, but it cannot arrive. Clarity solves that. Clarity turns reaction into intention, and intention into meaningful action. Clarity starts with asking the hard questions. Who am I becoming? What do I value? What do I want? What am I willing to work for? What am I no longer willing to tolerate? These questions shape your life more than any circumstance ever could, because clarity isn't just about knowing your goals. It's about understanding yourself. When you know your values, your strengths, your desires, your non-negotiables, your life becomes easier to navigate. Choices become easier. Decisions become quicker. Distractions lose their power. Opportunities become obvious. When you know what you're aiming for, you know what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. Clarity also creates emotional strength. When you don't know what you want, you're easily discouraged. You're easily influenced. You're easily knocked off balance by setbacks. But a clear purpose gives you resilience. It gives you something to hold on to when the day is hard or the path is uncertain. Think about it. When you know why you're doing something, you can endure almost anyhow. Clarity gives you a reason to get up, a reason to continue, a reason to push, a reason to stay disciplined when distractions whisper and comfort calls your name. A productive life is built by design, not by accident, and clarity is the blueprint. Without a blueprint, you can build walls, pour concrete, hammer nails, but nothing stands straight because nothing is aligned. Many people are working hard, but they are not working aligned. Hard work without clarity leads to frustration. Hard work with clarity leads to progress. Clarity ensures that every action is connected to a bigger vision, a bigger goal, a bigger future. Clarity sharpens your time. When you are unclear about your life, you waste hours, days, even years. You chase things that don't matter. You cling to habits that don't help. You spend energy on the urgent instead of the important. But the moment you become clear, your schedule transforms. Your priorities reorder themselves. You start to guard your time because you finally understand its purpose. You realize that time spent without intention is time lost without return. Clarity gives purpose to your minutes and meaning to your hours. Clarity also strengthens your discipline. See, discipline is difficult when your purpose is weak. It's hard to wake up early when you don't know what you're waking up for. It's hard to stay focused when you're unclear about what matters. It's hard to stay consistent when you don't understand the destination. But clarity makes discipline almost natural. When you know where you're going, you don't need constant motivation. You just need movement. Purpose pulls you forward. Vision keeps you aligned. When the mind knows the direction, the body follows. Another powerful thing about clarity is that it eliminates unnecessary battles. When you lack clarity, everything feels important. Every distraction looks tempting. Every opportunity looks attractive. You jump from one thing to another, collecting unfinished projects and unfulfilled promises. But clarity acts like a filter. It shows you exactly what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It protects you from people who drain you, tasks that waste your time, goals that aren't yours, expectations that don't align with your future. It frees you from the chaos of trying to be everything to everyone. Because the moment you know who you are and what you want, you stop trying to be what people expect. Clarity also fuels confidence. People think confidence comes from achievement, but it actually comes from alignment. When your actions match your values, when your steps match your goals, when your choices match your vision, you feel grounded, you feel centered, you feel certain, and that certainty becomes confidence. When you're clear, you don't second guess yourself. You don't doubt your decisions. You don't question your path. Every time life becomes inconvenient, you trust yourself because you finally understand yourself. And here's one more thing about clarity. It attracts the right things toward you. People with clarity have a different energy, a different presence. They speak with purpose, move with direction, and live with intention. They become magnets for opportunities, partnerships, resources, and growth. Life begins to align around a person who is aligned within themselves. When you become clear, you make it easier for the world to help you. You make it easier for others to understand you, support you, believe in you. Clarity makes you visible, not in a loud way, but in a purposeful way. So the first discipline of a powerful, productive, meaningful life is clarity. It is the foundation upon which every other pillar rests. It is the starting point of progress, the seed of transformation, the spark that ignites discipline, focus, energy, and purpose. Because once you become clear, everything else becomes possible. Discipline is the bridge between your potential and your progress. Without it, even the best intentions remain unfinished dreams. When people talk about success, they often speak of talent, luck, opportunity, education, or resources. But none of these matter without the quiet, steady force called discipline. Discipline is not dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek attention. It works in the background, shaping your days, strengthening your character, and building your future one small choice at a time. Discipline is the difference between wishing for a better life and working for one. It is the difference between dreaming and doing, between knowing and becoming. And until a person embraces discipline, their potential stays locked inside them. Most people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack consistency. They start strong, but they do not stay steady. They start with excitement, but they do not continue with commitment. That is because excitement is easy. Discipline is difficult. Excitement is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Excitement lasts moments. Discipline lasts years. And if you want a productive life, a successful life, a life that stands firm and stands tall, you must learn to do the things that need to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is doing what matters, especially on the days you don't want to. Discipline begins with small choices: waking up on time, finishing the task you promised yourself you'd finish, saying no to distractions, cleaning the space around you, preparing the night before, speaking truth to yourself instead of letting laziness whisper excuses. Each small choice strengthens the muscles of discipline. And the surprising thing is this: the more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. What once felt like effort becomes routine. What once felt like struggle becomes rhythm. What once felt like sacrifice becomes your new standard. Discipline doesn't just build your habits, it rebuilds your identity. Potential is a beautiful thing, but it is also a dangerous thing. Potential can convince you that you have time, that you'll do it later, that you'll begin tomorrow. But without discipline, potential becomes an illusion. It becomes a story you tell yourself instead of a life you build. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you lack discipline, that talent goes unused. You can have ambition, goals, dreams, and desires, but without discipline, they remain ideas floating in your mind instead of achievements planted in reality. Discipline turns "I want to" into "I'm doing it." It turns plans into progress. Discipline is also the cure for procrastination. Procrastination thrives on emotion. It tells you to wait until the moment feels right. It tells you to delay until motivation returns. But motivation is unreliable. Discipline is steady. Discipline says, "Do it now." And when you obey that voice, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe that you can rely on your own word. You begin to walk with a sense of control over your life. Most people are stressed, not because they have too much to do, but because they break promises to themselves. Discipline repairs that. It teaches you to honor your commitments, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Another powerful truth about discipline is that it compounds. Each disciplined action creates momentum for the next. Each victory, no matter how small, strengthens your confidence. Each consistent day makes the next one easier. Think of discipline like compound interest, seemingly tiny at first, but unstoppable over time. A person who moves 1 inch every day will travel farther than a person who runs a mile once a month. Small, steady, consistent effort beats dramatic, inconsistent effort every single time. Discipline creates the quiet momentum that builds extraordinary lives. Discipline also transforms your relationship with discomfort. Most people avoid discomfort. They seek the easiest path, the quickest reward, the softest option. But discipline teaches you to embrace discomfort because discomfort is where growth begins. When you lift weights, the muscle grows by being pushed. When you stretch, the body becomes flexible by being challenged. When you learn a new skill, the mind expands by struggling. Discipline teaches you not to fear the struggle. It teaches you to walk toward the resistance, because that is where your strength is made. A disciplined person does not avoid discomfort. They understand it as the gateway to mastery. Discipline also gives structure to your time. Without discipline, time slips away unnoticed. Hours disappear into distractions. Days are lost to unimportant tasks. But discipline organizes your time. It teaches you to prioritize. It teaches you to plan your day before the day begins. It teaches you to separate what is urgent from what is important and to commit yourself to what actually moves your life forward. A disciplined person doesn't let the day control them. They control the day. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They don't let time happen to them. They direct time as if it were a tool. Another gift discipline gives you is freedom. This may seem strange to some because discipline is often viewed as restriction. But real discipline creates more freedom than it takes away. When you discipline your time, you gain control of your life. When you discipline your finances, you gain financial freedom. When you discipline your habits, you gain health. When you discipline your mind, you gain peace. Undisciplined people think they are free, but they are controlled by impulses, distractions, emotions, and circumstances. Disciplined people control themselves, and in doing so, they control their destiny. Discipline also shapes your character. It teaches you patience, resilience, humility, self-respect, and integrity. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your sense of honor. Every time you push through resistance, you build resilience. Every time you face a challenge with consistency, you build confidence. Discipline makes you someone others can trust, but more importantly, someone you can trust yourself. It is one of the greatest forms of self-respect. When you are disciplined, you are telling yourself, my future matters, my goals matter, my growth matters. There will always be days when discipline feels heavy, when the path feels long, when the temptation to take it easy grows strong. But these are the moments when discipline reveals its true power. Anyone can work when they feel inspired. Anyone can show up when it's convenient. But discipline shows up when it's inconvenient. Discipline moves even when motivation sleeps. Discipline keeps going when the mood disappears. And those moments, those small, difficult moments, are the ones that separate ordinary lives from extraordinary ones. Because without discipline, even the greatest potential remains untouched. Without discipline, dreams stay on paper. Without discipline, goals stay someday goals. Without discipline, life stays stuck in the realm of wishing instead of becoming